Welcome to our presentation on the Loughborough full-time MBA. We're really looking forward to telling you a little bit more about our program today. And what you can see on this main screen then is actually a picture of our School of Business and Economics where you would be studying. So we felt it was quite a nice way to show you our beautiful campus. So moving forward then really to what I hope would be some of the key things that you will want to know. We're going to talk through a little bit about what we're looking for, what the program covers, and then some specifics on one of our key features, which is obviously the optional one-year internship that Natalie will talk about. And then we will move on and Francis will talk a little bit about admissions, and then we'll move over to you for questions. So in terms of our program, we look for students with a minimum of 3 years professional or managerial experience, and that's sort of postgraduate experience. But in reality, the typical average experience of our students varies year on year, but is somewhere between 6 and 8 years. So we get a really experienced cohort generally of graduates who are looking then to extend their skills by doing an MBA. And that's obviously the reason why you're looking for this. They come from a range of backgrounds, from engineers and computer specialists to construction, recruitment consultants. There are a lot of different kind of individuals who turn up looking to get their MBA skills. We expect you to have a degree or professional qualifications. And again, Francis is going to talk a lot more about that a little bit later. Typically our tuition fees are 28,500, but we do have a lot of scholarships available worth up to 40% of the fees. As Dheeraj said, we are a top 10 business school and we are also triple accredited. So not only do we have the MBA seal of approval via our AMBER accreditation, but we are also accredited by both the AACSB and EQUIS. So in a sense, that idea that all of the areas, both from the US and the AACSB, they all see us as a high quality institution, and we aim to bring that to our program. You can see there on the right, that's actually our class of this year, 2018-19, and they've actually just completed their induction. And this is a picture of them. They were on a 2-day away day learning about design thinking. And they all look pretty happy, so I'm hoping that that's a positive from their first week with us, and they're now into all of their classes. But you can see, again, we'll come back to this, but we get a diverse range of students from across the globe. So and a really great mixture of gender, and you can see, age is not an issue here. As I said, the reason why we get an average experience of around 6 to 8 years is because we get a range of individuals who come to study with us. So breaking it down a little bit so that you have some idea of what it is you're actually going to study, regardless of whether you sign up for the 1 year or the 2 year with internship, your first year, and if that is your only year, will all be the taught program. So we break that down into 3 semesters, and in semester 1, you cover off a lot of the core skills. And again, these would be typical whatever MBA program that you do. So we cover everything from business economics, accounting, marketing, and then some specialist modules on leadership, leading strategic change, contemporary perspectives on leadership, and then some key areas for us in terms of problem solving. Semester 2, then you actually continue with the core modules that need to be covered, but you also then get a choice of optional modules. So on our course, you then choose up to 3 optional modules. And again, they range from trying to extend your understanding of marketing via managing corporate reputation, or looking at international management and how to run international businesses, operations management, project management. We also have some really interesting international summer school modules that I'm going to tell you about in a minute. Your business project gets launched in semester 2, but you would actually continue with that throughout semester 3, which is our summer semester. And then you have space to select maybe more options if you haven't done all 3 options in your second semester, and finish off a double weighted module on managing innovation. And what I want to do now is just to have a look at some of those kind of key elements. You know, if we want to actually say about the Loughborough full-time MBA and what makes us different, particularly beyond those typical modules that you will see across everybody's MBA programs, a big differentiator for us is obviously the internship option and the opportunity to gain UK work experience. And Natalie will tell you more about that shortly. But essentially, they run up from 45 to 52 weeks is seen as a year's internship, and that's what we would be looking for you to achieve if you were on that particular option. But in terms of some of the key things that Loughborough is very well known for, is our decision sciences focus. And what we mean by that is actually our aim is to teach you a lot of very practical problem solving skills, which is why we have 2 kind of core modules, problem solving for leaders and business analytics. And both of those are all about understanding how to make the best use of data to make stronger business decisions as leaders. We also have 3 what we would classify as integrative modules. So our capstone module is called Leading Strategic Change. And again, this is a double weighted module where you actually look at how do I actually lead strategic change. So actually taking a strategy and a vision of a company and designing a new strategy and vision for that company, and presenting that to a board of directors. Our other big integrative module is our innovation and entrepreneurship module. It's called Innovation Management, but we actually look at that through live company projects. So companies will bring us problems that they're looking to solve. And as groups, you will then work through understanding how you solve those problems. The final integrative module that we like is actually one of our optional modules, but it is very, very popular with our students. And it's actually a summer school. And ESAM, basically, the European Summer School for Advanced Management, is a 2-week residential module that actually can take place anywhere across the globe. So we have hosted it for a couple of years. Last year it was actually hosted by Glasgow, but it's actually based on a consortium of universities who operate across the globe. And what happens is students fly in to do this 2-week residential module from Australia, from Canada, from South America, from Asia, and then obviously all of our students join as well if they choose to. And that is actually supported by us. So even though it's external, there's no additional cost in that particular module. And we look at everything from international management, how to collaborate, how to negotiate. The 2-week residential changes every year because it depends who's running it. But it allows us to provide something quite different to our students than some other straight modules where you would just study here. The other thing that we would argue is a real bonus if you come to Loughborough and you choose Loughborough is actually to do with the award-winning career support. So on top of the actual program, we do a lot of additional professional development work. We run masterclasses, and Natalie then provides a lot of career support alongside our university careers team. And if we look at some of those, so as part of these additional events and opportunities, the main area that we run specifically through the MBA is a range of masterclasses. So, and this year and last year particularly, we've had some really interesting guest speakers. So the CEO of Shazam is due in next week to come and talk to us. We had the former CEO of Saatchi & Saatchi last year coming to talk to the students. We have the author of The Art of Brilliance, who I think Natalie could tell you a little bit more about in terms of what they cover. But essentially, we run at least 3 MBA specialist masterclasses every semester, allowing you to get business insights, learn something about either how to work in the UK culture or about particular sectors. And on top of that, we then run a range of professional development workshops in order to help develop your skills set beyond the core program. At the end of the year, we run a one-day MBA conference, and again, that changes every year. So some years we will have a day where we actually focus on a specific topic. Other years we've actually combined that into more masterclasses, but most of the time that's a nice one-day end to the year. As I said, we have our award-winning careers team, and they run a lot of fairs and networking events that allows you access to some of the biggest names in the UK in terms of companies, so that you can get to know those companies and find out what it is they're looking for. So when you apply for jobs, you're in a better position to get those jobs. And alongside ESAM, we're actually moving towards running international study tour options, which is actually an additional week where we are looking to take students. So you could do the ESAM, the 2-week ESAM, but if you wanted to, you could do a week flying, say, to the US and visiting businesses and a university and some social activities to give you a flavour for the US or for China or for South America. These will vary each year, and this year's study tour is not actually confirmed yet, but essentially it's a week additional study tour that students can do. And as I say, we have a budget for ESAM and these study tours to help support students doing these additional events. And now I'd like to actually hand over to Natalie, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the internship opportunities and our graduate destinations.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. Okay, yeah, so I will just tell you a little bit more about the internship. So as Vicky has already said, they are 45 weeks to 52 weeks in duration. They can be made up of smaller internships with different organisations, but the amount of work experience does need to total 52 weeks. It does also need to be a full-time position, so those are the types of things that you will need to consider when looking for them. The main thing to say is that while you will be securing the internship, it will be your responsibility in terms of being a student. However, you have got a wealth of support here at the university to help you with that. So I will just run through a few of those with you. First of all, there's the school's university teacher in employability, which is myself. I run the professional development workshops, which is a compulsory module that you do as part of your programme. Throughout that, we have a number of different subjects that we go through. In semester 1, it is focusing more on the skills development aspect in terms of building up those skills that you will need. And then in semester 2, we move on to the more employability side of things. So we get you ready in terms of when you do start to apply for internships. Alongside myself, I work really closely with the Careers Network, and we do have a dedicated careers consultant that is dedicated to the MBA and the postgrad courses within the business school. She is very knowledgeable, and she offers one-to-one appointments, so you get a lot of support in terms of guidance and your skills development. Even though it is your responsibility to find the positions, we do have a number of contacts within the business school, and we do try and build these up too in terms of advertising positions for you. The Careers Network also has a great portal that can help you with applying for advertised positions. Also, there will be a regular internship opportunities newsletter that will be sent round to you, so you will be made aware of all these different opportunities that are available to you throughout the year. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a bit of information about the past internships that we've had. As you can see down the left-hand side, the companies that we have worked with in the past can vary quite greatly. So we've got the larger companies that students have gone to, so companies like Rolls-Royce, Bosch, Goldman Sachs. But then if we move down the list, they do go into the smaller or medium-sized enterprises. So whatever industry you're looking for, or what opportunities or experiences you're looking for, there is usually a company out there that will recruit you. Also, what I will just point out is that actually they are all different organisations in terms of the types of industries that they are working in. So we do have people that work within tourism, in the consultancy industry, in the energy sector, for example. So there are lots of opportunities out there. And then down the right hand side, we've got just a few of the job titles that students have gone in to do. So they typically aren't just interns, they are experienced positions. So we have had people working within marketing, in terms of research consultants, in financial accounting. So as you can see, there are quite a few job titles in there that are at a very good level. Okay, so this slide just basically gives you an overview of some of the case studies of those internships that we've had. So I won't go through them all, but I will just focus on Kian from China. He spent his internship with an international logistics business, and he was actually located in the south of England. What he did there was that he looked at a portfolio of clients and customers. Now, he made a great contribution, and he actually continued working with that company after graduation. So that was a really successful internship that we had. We'll now hand over to Aniket from India, who was one of our students last year who went out on internship, and he'll be able to tell you a bit about his experience.
Good evening to everybody. So my name is Aniket. I'm a former student from Loughborough University. I did my internship. I did my MBA program with internship at Loughborough University, which was a very good experience. And I'm sure, obviously, each and everybody is looking forward to the program with internship, because yes, it is one of the most important factors when a student is applying for an MBA program. I personally had a very good experience when it comes to the internship front. Um, I got to do my internship in with two different companies, which had a very different experience to offer me as such. Which was a very good experience, because when you come down to a foreign country for an MBA program or any education, be it, you would like to have a work experience under your belt in that country. So the internship program really helped me to build on that. As Natalie rightly pointed out, it is very important that the student takes the onus on himself and starts applying. So what I can suggest as a student and a former student, that you really start applying, take all the resources that are available at the university, right from Natalie's support to the career services, which really offer out a good mix and really good advices, right from helping you out with your CV to applications, and as well as they forward you a lot of availability of various internships in the UK. So it's a really good mix. If I speak about my internship, yes, it is a tough process, to be realistic, but again, it's always going to be, because it's something where you're stepping forward to build your careers on. So it's a very nice process to go through, to have an experience under your belt. Uh, bring your portfolios to new, because my earlier profile was in business development and various other aspects, but with the internship and the MBA learnings, I got to push myself to being a marketing intern as well as a business development manager. So which was a very good experience, if I may say, uh, because I got to test the waters in the UK market, being from Indian subcontinent, having worked in Indian subcontinent. for over 6-7 years. It gave me a perfect outlook and approach towards the UK market and how it works. Uh, Whereas I was even lucky that my internship was my dissertation project itself. So it really helped me to build my profile right now, because I could research on the project as well as work on it as an intern. Moreover, the MBA program really helps you to look at various aspects. Like, for example, I myself did globalization and outsourcing, which was a really interesting part for me as an optional module. At the same time, the core modules really helped us out, which dealt with leadership, maybe finance, marketing, etc.
Thank you for that, Aniket. That's really helpful. I'm going to, at this point, hand back to Natalie to just tell you a little bit about the careers destination. And then if anybody does have questions for Aniket, he'll still be on the line later.
Okay, so I will just give you a quick overview in terms of career destinations. You may be interested in terms of where some of our graduates have gone. On the slide, you'll see a list of some of the roles that students have gone into once they've graduated, along with some of the companies. So, for example, you can see we've had someone go into being a commercial director with Balfour Beatty, which is quite a large engineering company within the UK. A network manager for Elliott Group. A student's gone into become a senior group captain in the Royal Air Force, a senior project leader at British Gypsum, business development consultant at Rolls-Royce. We've had someone graduate and go into become a consultant at Deloitte, and then a systems analyst at Tata Consultant Services. So as you can see from the list, a lot of those positions are at that senior level. So the students, the individuals have done their MBA, gained their experience, and then entered into really good positions.
And the aim is that, an MBA will enhance your career and take you further. A number of our students also use it to change direction. So that might be something that is important to you. So actually part of this process can be using the internship to get different experience that allows you then to move into a new career going forwards. And that's all of the support from the careers team and from Natalie and the internship support allows you, hopefully, to achieve your potential in terms of the jobs that you want in the future. What I'm going to do now is just hand over to Frances, who's our admissions tutor, who is the person who is likely to be your first port of call when it comes to applications, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about the application process.
Hello, so my name's Frances and I will be your guide if you do decide to join us at Loughborough. During the application process, I will receive your application and look at it carefully in terms of your experience. Basically, the things that we require from your application, a degree certificate and full transcripts, an English language qualification. We'll need 2 references, and for which we would usually ask you for them to be from your employers, because we will also need that evidence of your work experience. And also, what would be really helpful for me is a personal statement, so describing why you want to do the MBA at Loughborough, your past experience and your qualifications, and how you want to move forward with this. So the overall requirements are: we require an English language qualification, for which usually it will be IELTS or PTE or TOEFL, but we also accept a wide range of other English language qualifications. We also require a good honours degree, and again, that depends on the institution that you're coming from, what it means to be a good qualification, but we can talk to you about that, what that means. And finally, 3 years work experience as a very minimum. And this is because we're AMBER accredited, and so this is one of their requirements. So that's non-negotiable. So in terms of applying to the MBA, my top tips, we don't need GMAT, so don't worry about that. We're quite happy with looking at your other qualifications with regard to applying. We also need a good tailored personal statement. Now be careful with this, because sometimes we get them and they refer to other universities, and so that's not really in your favour if you can't do attention to detail. So just be really careful and make sure that you're really selling yourself to us. So also, when you do apply, we need references to demonstrate your experience. Choose these people very carefully and also request them as soon as possible, because you can upload them onto the application form as you go along. So, and basically the application is really simple. It's an application portal. It's online, it's active, so you can apply and submit it to us, and then you can still keep uploading documents as you receive them. So if you don't receive your references, for example, you can upload them as you go along, and I will receive them, and I will be able to amend and develop your offer. So change it from maybe a conditional offer to an unconditional offer. So it's a really simple application process. Go to the Loughborough University website, follow the links from Study With Us, and look for the postgraduate talk programmes. And one thing I would also recommend is sign up for web chats, get that opportunity to talk to current students who can tell you honestly what it's really like to be here. Okay, thank you. Oh, and if you want, if you want to know about the scholarships, we do consider them at the same time as your application. So as long as all the information is there, I can make you an offer at the same time as your application. So if you do have any questions, even before you apply, contact me at mba@loughborough.ac.uk. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Frances. So, and just a little bit then, we thought it might be worth just having a short clip of, you know, Loughborough and where it is, because obviously probably a lot of you have thought, where on earth is Loughborough, and you know, what kind of place is Loughborough? So you can see on the map, we are in the middle of the country, you know, we are at the heart of England, and we are what we would classify as a smaller market town. So we're not one of the big cities, but we are what we would say is a very friendly community market town, but with good links to the rest of the UK. And a number of our students then go and travel either during the programme or, you know, in some of the breaks, and they use it as a waypoint to look at that. You can see even from the little image down at the bottom, 2017, 2018, we get a vast range of students from lots of different destinations. So it is a very diverse cohort, both in terms of where people come from, and also we're very pleased that we actually get a very strong gender mix across our programme as well. And we then connect you with our global MBA community, because if you imagine that continuing on, we've had many years, we've actually been doing MBA programme for over 40 years, so we have a huge global MBA community that we connect you with. Even though it is a small market town, it is a very lively campus-based university. So we are, you saw from the picture, you can see the facilities. We actually are very well known for sports. So actually we also have world-class sports facilities for you to use while you're here. A lot of international athletes also train and live here. So again, just to give you a bit of a feel for it, and Aniket might be able to say a little bit more if anybody's got any questions a bit later. But essentially, we see it as a family-based approach, home from home, on a lovely, safe, campus-based university. And, you know, we hope that the sun shines. Today it isn't, today it's raining, but most of the time we hope the sun shines. So, and that was really all we wanted to do from a presentation perspective. So thank you very much for your intention. And what we're going to do now is hopefully move over to some of the questions that you have for us.
So the first question comes from Maria Perez. She's asking if you do have an alumni network.
Okay, and that's a great question. Thank you, Maria. And that's part of what we were talking about with our global community. Yes, we do have an alumni network. We have a broad range of alumni that we stay in contact with. We actually use LinkedIn to do that. So everybody joins the LinkedIn portal while they're here, and then we connect up. Our alumni come in and talk on the program. So some of our guest speakers are our alumni from Loughborough University. And as I say, they also are quite helpful in offering internships. So our alumni network is something that we rely on, and we know our students rely on each other and our alumni rely on each other going forward. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. The next one is actually directed to Aniket. How did you choose, Aniket, the companies for the internships? This is by John.
We can probably come in with the first one of those, because Aniket was talking about the fact that his first project, when his project for his MBA was also his internship. Part of that was actually companies do come to us and say, do you have a student who would be interested in doing this company-based project for us? That started as a project, but they were so pleased with what he was doing that actually translated into his first internship. So as I say, sometimes we offer these company-based projects to all of our students, so not just the internship students. Anybody can apply to do a company-based project, but Aniket was successful in securing that project, and it turned into his first internship. And then you want to say a little bit about his second internship.
Yeah, and then Aniket networked, I think, in terms of the experience that he gained from his first internship led him to network with another company, and they saw the work that he'd done and the skills he'd developed, and then he transferred that across to the second internship. So he did actually contact the organisation through networking, and that's how he gained the second internship.
Okay, I think that Aniket is online with us. Aniket, I think we can hear you. Maybe you can speak and share your experience with us.
Thank you for the question. Yes, as Vicky and Natalie mentioned out, so the offer was from the university that had come in, and like I said, previously my work experience was into business development, and this was the right opportunity to change my career path and try out a field which I was more interested in, which I felt more leaned towards to try about. So during that time, talking with the employers, we really had a good connect, and I really saw an opportunity out there. So with the dissertation project, I approached them, and they felt that this is a likely project which can go in for more duration, and we can convert it into an internship, which was my first part of the internship. Whereas the second part was something which I networked between my friends, and that is how I got a breakthrough for my second internship, which was slightly related to the earlier internship, which was into marketing, and a step ahead where I got to have an experience built up in another part of the country, working in UK.
Okay, great. Thank you very
Thanks,
much. The next question is to Natalie from Elizabeth again. From your personal experience, do you consider that it is harder for a professional with a work background, mainly on human resources, to get an internship? I'm asking this after looking at the slide with the list of average positions in demand. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so the examples that we used on the slide were just some of the internships that we've had. We have had a few working in the HR sector. Now, I will say that it is competitive in all industries. So I would say that, you know, you do need to put the time and effort into finding those internships. But I would say from my experience that it's not harder for one industry or the other. It is just typically that you do need to put that time and effort into finding those opportunities and making the most of that. So even though they might not be on the slides, we have had people in those positions previously. So yeah, I would say that it would be still, there would be opportunities available for you.
Yeah, and the careers fairs that we run, there's lots of opportunities, and they do range from HR through to consulting. So it isn't that we only focus on one specific thing. And Natalie's right, that the key to actually securing an internship is about working hard in the professional development sessions, developing the skills, understanding how to secure an internship, particularly in the UK, because things are different across the globe. And so we'll talk through some of those skills and behaviors that might help you secure those positions. But it isn't that one is easier than others. It's just that was a list of some of the ones. So hopefully that sets your mind at rest, I guess.
Thank you. And John is also asking us, can we use references from LinkedIn? People are referring based on work experience there.
So I would say typically we haven't used references from LinkedIn. People do typically get a direct reference that we can check. I guess we could look at those, and it would depend on what's included in that reference. We might actually need to contact that person to ensure how that reference was actually obtained. But if you have strong references on LinkedIn, it is an area we could look at. So it doesn't preclude you from getting your application accepted.
But at the end of the day, we do need a copy of a reference uploaded into your application, because people do need to be able to see them.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess the way to do that is to actually capture it as a screenshot from LinkedIn with a link that we could then follow to double check.
Yeah. So we do check all documents. So all documents do need to be certified, and if a reference is sent from a person, we do need to be able to contact them via their work details. So yeah, we do check them.
Great. Luis is asking if it's possible to work part-time while studying.
Okay, and that is important for some of our students. So the MBA program is a tough program. There is a lot of hard work to be done on the program. It is a one-year intensive program. However, a number of our students do work a few hours part-time as part of supporting themselves through doing the internship. You probably know a few of them.
Yeah, so I mean, some of the students work here on campus. I think Annika's done student ambassador roles before, so a lot of students get involved with that. Yeah, and a lot of other students do have some part-time positions that they do in terms of just helping them along with things. Some other students decide to work part-time in terms of getting the first step into the industry that they want to get into for their internship. So that could be something that you could think about in terms of helping yourself get into an internship later on. Part-time work can help you do that as well.
I would say we don't always sort of encourage it, because, as I say, it is a tough year, but we understand that a number of students are looking to do those sorts of things, and some of our students do achieve that work to study balance.
Ms. Paris is also asking if you can give more information about the MBA community at the university.
Okay, so I mean, you can see even from the slides, we do get a broad range of students, so it isn't just from one area of the globe. Aniket, I think this maybe is a place for you to come in if you're there to talk about where the MBA students live, how you engage in community activities. Most of our MBA students, we run some events. We run everything from a barbecue to evening activities, but the students quite often do that themselves. So Aniket, do you want to come in?
So to start with, yes, students as a cohort in the MBA class itself, which is a very fascinating thing to move about, because in the start you get to know so much information. It's a really interesting mix.
So yeah, there's an MBA coffee lounge and kitchen and facilities for students to use. So often all the lectures occur in the School of Business and Economics that we showed you at the start. And so a lot of students engage together. There are halls of residence that you can live in on campus, or you can choose to live in independent accommodation in town, and there is a lot of accommodation available. And as soon as you apply, there's then support to find that.
Yeah.
So Francis might come in and say a little bit.
So our accommodation office is very supportive. There is a student village on campus, and then there's also a number of different halls of residence around the campus, because the campus itself is massive. There's a bus service that takes you all around the campus as well, so that's quite useful. But the nearby town, there is a huge big area where a lot of students live, but the accommodation office are very helpful and will try to match you with your preferred option as soon as possible.
And we'd say, so the MBA community builds itself right from the induction, where we do a 2-day off-site event where the students are thrown into that design thinking challenge. But on top of that, Loughborough University runs a wide range of social and sporting societies. So beyond the MBA community, you may well also build much broader links while you're here. So the idea is that you have your own MBA community plus the Loughborough community that you can engage with as well. Hopefully that answered your question, Maria.
Great, thank you very much. Another question that comes from Emin Abazov is, please tell me about the minimum requirements about IELTS score.
Okay, so for the IELTS, the minimum we require is 6.5 overall, with no subtest less than 6 in any of the 4 subtests. If you don't meet that requirement, you can either retake the test, or you can come to the university to do a pre-sessional course. And these are actually very good ways of meeting fellow students and getting back into education after having been in the world of work for a few years.
So, and they range from a couple of weeks to a longer pre-sessional,
Yeah.
depending on which scores you might be light on.
Yeah.
But and a big thing for us here, you know, Francis mentioned that we don't use GMAT. We do focus very much on IELTS scores and English language, because actually that is the key, really, alongside your business experience, in getting the most out of an MBA program. So we don't actually rate GMAT in terms of what it gives us in terms of information about you and your capacity to succeed on our MBA program. So the English language is a key one, because obviously we're going to be teaching you in English, and we want you to engage and connect with some concepts and theories and be reading. And so the reason why we set that, it might sound a little bit high, but the idea is that you get the most out of the course if you can meet those requirements. And our pre-sessionals really focus on that. In a sense, that probably links to the next question. about experience. Yeah.
Yes, actually, it's quite an interesting question, because the gentleman is asking if he has 2 years of experience as a freelancer. Is that okay, and does it count?
Okay, so as Francis mentioned, as part of maintaining that gold standard of Amber accreditation, we do look for a minimum of 3 years. And again, part of that is because to get the most out of an MBA program, essentially you need to have that business experience, because we expect you to apply the theories to practice in the classroom, engaging with the other students and learning from each other. So you bring experiences that you then explain in the classroom. So students learn from you, you learn from other students. And so that idea of having a minimum of 3 years is really important. Now, there are the odd occasion where we might look at a student who has less than 3 years experience. That would be done on an exceptional basis, and we would actually need quite a detailed CV. We would do some interviews and then make a decision. So typically that experience would have to be quite exceptional, so that actually we can believe within those 2 years you've developed at least as much as most students would have developed in 3 years. So it isn't a completely clear-cut answer, but essentially the easiest way to say it is if you've got 3 years experience, which is typical for most students as a minimum, then we will and Francis can process your application. If you have less than that, then there will be a lengthier process where we will interview you.
Okay, another question by Maria. She is asking, how do you define which company project to go to which student? Is it the company or the school who defines that?
So again, typically it's both. So a company will come to us with a project, we will advertise it to the students, and then students will decide whether or not to apply. Typically they'll work with Natalie to think about those applications, and then Natalie will work with the company. Do you want to give an example maybe?
Yeah, so for example, this year we did work with a company that offered a project out to the students. The company wrote a project brief for us, the types of skills and knowledge that they wanted the students to have, that wanted to bring to the project. We advertised that to the cohort of students, and that's when students who felt that project was an interest to them, that they matched those requirements, they would then come and speak to me. I would go through it with them just to ensure that the match was there, and then all the CVs of those students that were interested in that project would be sent to the employer. The company would then decide who they would want to speak to in terms of maybe possibly having an interview with a couple of those students to see who was the best candidate to take that position.
Hello, my name is Maidala Gonzalez, and I would like to know if age is an issue since I have 27 years old.
So it's more about experience. So again, the average age of the students, do you have that?
I think it was last year, it was 32 was the average age.
Yeah, so the average age last year was 32. I mean, it does vary probably between 29 to 32. So it depends each year on the cohort of students. 27, you would have your minimum 3 years experience, so that would be perfectly fine, and you wouldn't be the only 27-year-old on the program at all. But we do get a reasonably broad range of ages.
Yeah, I mean, it ranges from about 25 up to 45, maybe.
Yeah, 40.
Yeah,
probably.
Okay, Donovan is also asking, do you offer travel and visa allowances to the international students?
I'm not quite sure what he means by travel and visa allowances. There is some support in place. So the university, when you apply for a place, then there's a visa application.
Yeah. Should I go into a little bit about that? So when you apply, you will be given an offer. When you accept it, after that, the university will issue you with a CAS, which you need to apply for your visa. there's help and support available within the university for prospective students, and so any kind of visa inquiries, we tend to direct you to them because they're the experts. I can help with kind of basic stuff, but anything that's a little bit more complicated, you really need to speak to the experts.
And then when you're on the program, if you then happen to decide you want to do the ESAM module, and that might be one of the things that you're thinking about in terms of the travel and visa allowances, you know, if ESAM is held in Canada or Australia, then yes, there will be some travel support, but students again would typically be expected to arrange their own visas, but there is support to attend the actual module or the study tour.
Great, thank you very much. And we are also asked about finance here. There is a question here if you could comment on institutions that offer student loans, and another one regarding full scholarship. So maybe you could lighten up a little bit on the scholarship opportunities that the school offers, and if you have any connections to that kind of financing organizations that can provide loans.
So within the MBA, we offer two different levels of scholarship. There's the 25% scholarship, and then there's a 40% scholarship. And in order to receive the 40% scholarship, you need to have the equivalent of a UK 2-1 and at least 5 years management experience. Within the university itself, there are also a number of different scholarships that you can apply for. There's sports scholarships and all sorts of things, alumni scholarships, and then externally from the university, there's things like the Chevening Award, which actually does fund you up to a proportion of the tuition fee, and I think they also help with travel costs and accommodation expenses. For students applying from African countries, there is also the African Development Scholarships, which are 100% of your tuition fee paid for, but obviously there's only a limited number of those. And then for other countries, there are also the Santander scholarships, which tend to be South America and then some areas of Europe that are particularly targeted at. Within the UK, there are also the postgraduate loans, career development loans, and then you can also apply to particular trusts, but they're on an individual basis, and you need to be, there's different levels of eligibility for those.
But there's quite a lot of information on the main university site, isn't there?
Yeah, if you go onto the university website and look at postgraduate taught finance, there's lists of loads of different scholarships and funding.
Great. There is maybe one of the final questions that we will have. Do you have entrepreneurship labs? I'm interested in starting my own business in the food industry.
Want to come in?
Yeah, so at the university we do have something called the Enterprise Hub. And that's the central enterprise department that offers help and support to all students in terms of when they are thinking of setting up their own business. So you will have support if that's what you're looking to do in terms of setting up your own business. We do have a number of experts across the campus that can help with that. That's no problem.
And there's also the innovation and entrepreneurship module. So again, we have that kind of core teaching module that is very helpful in terms of skills and knowledge development, and then all of the support within the main university in terms of helping you. And we have a place where you can start your own business.
Yeah, called the studio.
The studio.
Yeah, which is a bit of an incubation space for students who want to go and start thinking about how to actually approach setting up their own business. And they'll be with like-minded people that you'll be able to bounce ideas off and things like that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And maybe we can wrap this up with a final question regarding the deadline of application in order to just end this session with putting it into the time perspective so that people know when exactly can they apply for the school and when are the intakes.
Okay, so there aren't any official deadlines, but the university will stop making offers to international students who need visas in early September because there won't be enough time to be ready for the beginning of the programme later than that.
So the programme typically starts the first week in October. So the application portal is open from now, and we process applications on an ongoing basis. So we don't have a set, opening time and deadline, nor do we have set deadlines for the scholarships. So as Francis said earlier, when you apply, if you meet our scholarship criteria, Francis will make the scholarship offer at the same time as confirming your place on the programme. And we keep taking those, as Francis said, right up until about the start of September.
Thank you all for joining us, and I would like to thank our wonderful speakers for the presentation and for taking the time to answer all of your questions. To those of you who didn't get answers to their questions, there's no need to worry. We will still send you the answers via emails as soon as we can. You will also receive a link with the recording for the whole webinar and a free MBA admission guide from Prep Advisor. On behalf of the Prep Advisor team, we would like to wish you good luck in your academic journey and hope to meet again very soon. Thank you very much to the Loughborough team, and have a great day.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.